All right, let's place that ball in between your knees. Come onto your hands and knees, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Toes are tucked under so that you can hover your knees off the mat. Hold for a big breath in, and then with as much control as possible, set your knees back down. All right, just some reminders. We're lifting our ribs up into our shoulder blades the whole time so that we're working against gravity. Head is also resisting gravity, so staying lifted into the center of the chest. Now lift those knees up and hold, and give that ball little squeezes, feeling your inner thighs activate. Squeeze that ball about 8 times and then softly set your knees down. Let's do that again. Knees lift up, squeeze that ball, check in with your elbows. If they're locked out, try to soften them. Think of spiraling your biceps forward, your triceps backward. And again, after about 6 to 8 squeezes, softly set those knees down. Now walk your hands a little further forward, lean forward, shoulders over wrists, and let's lift both knees up, straighten your legs out, you're in a plank. And again, with control, softly set your knees down. Think of stretching your heels away from the top of your head, drawing your lower abdominals in. Do that about 4 times and then take a downward dog. Pike your hips. Now bend your knees from that downward dog, lower them as much as you can, and then straighten them back out. After about 5 of those, walk your hands back towards your feet, soften your knees if you need to, and just adjust the ball so it's now in between your ankles. Slowly roll all the way up to standing. Once you're there, arms reach overhead. Take your hands behind your head. Let's do that circular pattern we did before. Side bend. Rib to top of the head curls forward, side bend the other way, and then think of diving backward. Couple times in each direction, curl the chin to the chest, roll all the way down, and walk your hands out till you're in a plank. Now the leg pattern we did earlier. Lift one leg off the mat, squeeze the ball, and try to lift your leg directly over your other leg. One on each side. Downward dog, walk your hands back to your feet. You can always bend your knees if you're feeling a little tight today, and roll all the way up to standing. Finding your balance, both heels lift, and they slowly lower down. Arms reach up to the sky. Side bend, one way and then the other way. Chin towards the chest, side bend, dive backwards, and side bend. Try it the other way. And if your neck needs support, remember hands can always go behind the head. Once you're even on both sides, roll back down to the mat, walk back out to your plank. Start with the opposite leg, squeeze that ball as you lift your leg up. Try to stack one ankle on top of the other. See if you can isolate that movement from the knee or the thigh down rather than moving anything through the torso. And we're going to find a squat. So grab that ball, stand all the way up, elbows bent, squeeze the ball in front of your chest, and then squat down, reach that ball out in front of your chest. The more you squeeze the ball, the more you're going to feel your arms and your shoulders. The further out from your chest you reach it, the more you're going to challenge your glutes and your back. So remember, if it ever bothers your back, you want to keep it closer to your chest. Now hold that squat down. Arms are straight out in front of you, just like that steering wheel movement. One hand right on top of the other. And then switch and try it a little bit faster now. As much weight in your heels as possible. Abs drawing in to support your back. And once you're even on both sides, meet in the middle and pulse your hips down an inch, up an inch. A little bit of endurance for those legs and hips. Standing all the way up, ball in front of the chest, elbows bent. Lift one leg up to tabletop, find your balance on the other leg, and then come back to a squat. Stand all the way up before you lift the other leg to tabletop, and then come back to that squat. So now we've got our entire body working together. We're thinking inner thighs, side glutes. They're going to help you balance. Embrace the wobble. For a little more challenge, try keeping your arms straight, further away from your chest. Balance is always really challenging for me. Some days it's better than others for sure. Once you're even on both sides, let's find a lunge. So step one leg really far forward, front knee bent, back leg straight, and just keep that ball right in front of your chest. Now lean forward and start to reach that ball out and in. You've got a great view of your knee and ankle alignment here. Remember, kneecap is right over your second and third toe. Try to stack your knee directly over your ankle, and your shoulders and hips are squared off to the wall right in front of you. Now, keeping the ball close to your chest, we're going to stand all the way up and lean backwards like we did on your knees. So now your back knee is bent, your front leg is straight, and let's do that same arm reach. The tendency here is to kind of arch your low back. So you're actually tucking your tailbone a little bit, just enough that your pubic bone is further forward than your hip bones. Enormous stretch on the front of that back thigh. It might start to burn or even shake a little bit. Now straighten both legs again. Find your torso right in the middle of those legs and try bending both knees down and up. Optional to add in some arms, reaching that ball up to the sky as you bend both knees, and then bring it back to your chest as you straighten both knees. For even more challenge, you could always lift your front heel. All right, here's our combination. Once you bend both knees, you're going to lean forward. Your back leg straightens. Then bend both knees through the middle, your torso is vertical, and lean back. Front leg straightens. Lean forward. Both knees bent. Lean back. Optional to add those arms, reaching out in front of you and then up to the sky. Now it's a little less challenging if you straighten both legs in between as you make your transition. More challenging if you bend both knees through that transition. Let's finish with some pulses. Both knees bend, hips down an inch, up an inch, and maybe you lift that front heel for extra challenge. You might even reach your arms up to the sky for that extra challenge. Let's try to balance on one leg. Push off your back leg, stand all the way up to tabletop like we did before. Embrace that wobble and then set both feet down, roll down to the mat. Let's take a quick stretch before we do the other side. So bend one knee, reach the opposite arm up to the sky, and then do the other side, and we'll roll all the way up to standing. So other leg reaches back. You want it to be enough that your front knee can bend and stay stacked on top of your ankle. Square off those shoulders and hips and start to reach that ball out and bend your elbows to bring it back to your chest. Now, as we get tired, we tend to arch the low back, flare open the front of the ribs. So think about all of that we've set up earlier. Ribs are closed in the front, abs are in. Now both legs straighten, and then bend the back knee, lean back and hold. Arms reach up to the sky. A little bit less challenging if they're lower, so think more like chest height. And again, you're kind of tucking your tailbone forward enough that you're really feeling those low abs and a big stretch on the front of the back thigh. Let's do down and up right in the center here. So both knees bent and both knees straighten. Torso is vertical, optional to reach those arms up to the sky and then back to the chest. You could always lift the front heel for more challenge. Let's go into our combo. So both knees bend, then we lean forward. The back leg will straighten. Both knees bend. Front leg straightens as you lean back. Optional to add those arms, reaching forward as you lean forward. Arms reach straight up as you lean back. A lot of balance here. Meeting back in the middle, pulse it out to finish, hips down an inch, up an inch. Optional to lift that front heel for more challenge, and even harder to lift the arms up. This side I have a lot better balance. Push off the back leg, balance on that front leg, and then set it down. Take that stretch again. Opposite knee bends, twisting up to the sky. Meet back in the middle. Hands on either side of the ball on the mat. Walk your feet back so you're in a plank. And try to tap that ball, alternating hands. Now this is going to be easier if your legs are much wider apart, a little more challenging if your legs are really close together. Your goal is to avoid shifting side to side as much as you can. So you can see that I'm obviously shifting side to side a little bit. If you widen your legs, it'll be a lot more steady. Once you're even on both sides, downward dog, pike those hips, stretch back, and then coming into your child's pose, knees bend, sit your hips back. Enjoy some deep breaths. Allow your jaw to unclench, your neck to unlock, your shoulders to relax. And then sitting on your heels, just roll all the way up to seated.